Peter Dutton will finally put a price tag on the Coalition's nuclear ambitions today, unveiling modelling that shows it will be $263 billion cheaper than Labor's plans. The modelling by Frontier Economics says by 2050, the Coalition's plan would see 38% of power coming from nuclear.
Now, that is starkly at odds with CSIRO research that gave a clear thumbs down to the nuclear option, saying it would be twice as expensive as renewables. There was lots to unpack here as both sides crunch the numbers ahead of the approaching election. Let's bring in political reporter Isabel Rowe at Parliament House. Isabel, good morning. So what do we know so far?
Good morning, Michael. Well, the Coalition is promising 7 nuclear power plants across the country, publicly owned ones, and they have already revealed the locations of those. 2 in regional Queensland, 2 in regional New South Wales, 1 in Victoria, South Australia and WA. We have received this morning now a basic statement from Peter Dutton's office which explains some of their modelling, not the full modelling. We presume that will come later, but chiefly, it says that Frontier Economics, which has done this modelling for the Coalition, estimates that the Coalition's transition with included nuclear energy will cost $263 billion less than what it says Labor's energy plan will cost. Now, that's $331 billion for the Coalition's plan and $594 billion for Labor's plan. Some of the key assumptions that the Coalition is making here is that by 2050, renewables will still make up most, or 54% of the energy mix. 38% will be nuclear and the rest from gas and coal-fired power. There is also an assumption that the Coalition is making that coal-fired power stations are going to need to stick around quite a bit longer than is already planned to help with that transition. And it's important to note that some of those coal-fired power plants are already planning to shut down much earlier than that.
So the CSIRO last week released its own modelling, as we've been reporting, showing nuclear would be twice as expensive. So how does that square with what the opposition is releasing today?
Well, it certainly leaves a lot of questions to be asked about this modelling, and as I said, you know, the actual detail will come later today. The CSIRO is basing its predictions on largely the cost of having to refurbish nuclear power plants, which would have to be done, they say, around the 40-year mark. The opposition has criticised the CSIRO as not having the expertise to do this sort of modelling, but that has been strongly refuted by the Energy Minister, Chris Bowen, and he's already been out this morning saying that Peter Dutton's plans here are a fantasy.
What the Coalition is asking the Australian people to believe is this, that they can introduce the most expensive form of energy and it'll end up being cheaper. I mean, it won't pass the pub test, it won't pass the sniff test because it is just a fantasy.
So lots of detail to come, Michael, and we know that when we're talking 20, 30, 40 years down the track, there is so much that can change in politics and in world circumstances that can mean some of these costs, you know, a blowout or change. So it's incredibly difficult to make these sort of predictions now. Lots more details to come later today. And can I just say, Michael, like everyone else has done, on behalf of the Canberra Parliament House team, congratulations. Thank you so much for your service over 15 years, and hopefully we can talk to you in some other capacity very soon.
That you will, I'm sure. Isabel, thank you, and thank you to our crack team there at Parliament House. Thank you.
Well, an estimated 500 Qantas engineers have walked off the job over ongoing pay dispute today as record crowds head to airports for one of the busiest travel days of the year. Our reporter Sophie Landale joins us now from Adelaide. Sophie, take us through what you know this morning.
Good morning, Bridget. Well, Qantas flights in and out of Australia could be disrupted as frustrated workers are trying to get the airline giant back to the bargaining table. There are 500 maintenance engineers who have gone on strike right across Australia in Adelaide, Brisbane, Perth, Sydney and Melbourne. Now, here in Adelaide, it could be the calm before the storm, as it seems as though people are getting through without too much of a problem. But that could be a different story as the day goes on. And also, it is set to be one of the busiest travel days we've seen in years. Record-breaking numbers are expected to come through Sydney Airport alone. I believe about 5.8 million travellers pouring through Sydney Airport. That's 500,000 more than the same time last year. I'll make that clear, 5.8 million travellers coming through between now and the end of January. So that's a lot of people, and the union is trying to, I guess, hoping that a disruption will help get their cause across the line. So the Qantas Engineers Alliance is putting forward a wage claim of 5% per year with a 15% increase in the first year. It's hoping to balance up after what they say is 3.5 years of wage freezes, and also to get the industry wage back up to standard. Now, that was reduced and Qantas didn't budge on their 3% over 3-year offer. They say it's competitive. The union says otherwise, so they're taking this action today. They're also planning on taking action on December 20th, just 5 days out from Christmas. So, Bridget, it's expected to be a very busy time of year, and it'll be very interesting to see how these negotiations may continue after this. Worth saying as well that Qantas says that flights won't be impacted by the action taken today. It says it's got more crews on deck to, I guess, help fill that gap, and also more people working during the holiday period. So definitely a watch and wait and see moment for now, Bridget.
Yeah, we'll have to see how the day plans out and also the weekend as well. Thanks a lot, Sophie.
And Emma is here with the rest of the morning's news.
Thanks, Michael. The Northern Territory Chief Minister says she might ask for federal support to deal with the recent escalating violence in Alice Springs. Residents of the town are reeling after 2 alleged attacks in the past week. A violent home invasion left a baby with serious head injuries, and in a separate incident, a woman was allegedly raped. The NT opposition leader has called on the Territory government to implement a curfew. South Korea's embattled president has vowed to fight to the end as he faces increasing pressure to resign over last week's martial law decree. Yoon Suk-yeol has defended his actions in a lengthy national address as he stares down both a second impeachment vote and angry protesters. The South Korean parliament has already impeached the country's justice minister and police chief. The RSPCA New South Wales warns that animal shelters are facing the perfect storm in the lead up to Christmas. Financial stress and fears of rental application rejections are leading more pet owners to give up their animals. Adding to the strain, many shelters are already at capacity, and cost of living pressures are limiting adoptions. US President-elect Donald Trump has been named Time magazine's Person of the Year for a second time. Speaking at the official event, the incoming president vowed to end wars raging in Ukraine and Gaza when he takes office next month. As part of the pomp and ceremony, Mr. Trump was also invited to ring the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange.
And a Santa wannabe has attempted to flee down a chimney to escape from police in the US, only to find himself, yes, trapped moments later. Body cam footage from Massachusetts police shows the man firmly wedged inside the brick chute while detectives wait for firefighters to free him. It looks like this very bad Santa could miss Christmas. He's been taken into custody.